Every position on a rugby field looks different on the outside. Different body type, different job, different demands. But every single one of them shares something in common. A psychological trap, built into the role itself, that most players never see coming. This video names every one of them. 15 positions, 15 mental weaknesses. And by the end, you will understand something about your own game that your coach has probably never said out loud. Let us start at the front. The props. Numbers 1 and 3. If you ask most people what a prop does, they will say something vague about the scrum. And they would be right. But here's what they do not see. The prop is the most invisible player on the pitch when everything goes well. Games are won and lost at scrum time. But when the scrum dominates, nobody in the stand points at the prop and says that is why we won. The ball goes wide. A back scores. Everyone cheers. But when the scrum collapses, when the penalty is given against, every eye on the pitch turns toward the front row. The prop only exists in public when something goes wrong. And that creates a specific mental trap. A single bad scrum can spiral into catastrophic thinking. One collapsed set piece becomes a story. The story becomes self-doubt. And self-doubt in a prop is catastrophic because confidence in the scrum is not just psychological, it is physical. A prop who hesitates in the bind transfers that hesitation directly into the body of everyone around them. The mental weakness of a prop is this. They carry the weight of the team's foundation in silence, and the moment that foundation cracks, they have no script for how to recover publicly. The fix? Props need a reset ritual, a physical cue, a word, a breath. Something that ends one scrum and starts the next one fresh. Because in rugby, the scrum that just happened does not exist anymore. Only the next one does. Now the hooker. Number 2. The hooker throws in at every lineout, every single one. And a bad lineout throw is one of the most visible mistakes in rugby. The ball drifts into open space. The opposition catches it. Possession is gone. And unlike a prop, the hooker cannot hide. The throw came from their hands. Here is the trap. After one bad throw, the hooker knows another lineout is coming. They cannot avoid it. They will have to throw again in front of the same crowd, the same teammates, the same opposition who just stole the ball. That is performance anxiety with a countdown clock attached to it. The mental weakness of the hooker is anticipatory dread. The fear of the next throw begins the moment the last one goes wrong. And that fear, if it is not managed, makes the next throw worse, which makes the fear worse, which makes the next throw worse again. Elite hookers do not try to forget bad throws. They process them in about 10 seconds, and then they focus entirely on the next lineout call. The call, not the throw. One step before the action, not the action itself. Now the locks. Numbers 4 and 5. The locks are the engine room. 80 minutes of lineout lifts, ruck drives, and carrying into contact. They do more physical work than almost any other player on the pitch. And almost none of it is remembered. No one in the crowd is watching the lock who drives 5 meters in a ruck. They are watching the scrum half who picks it up and breaks the line. The lock who wins the lineout ball disappears the moment the fly half receives it. The work is constant. The recognition is almost zero. The mental weakness of the lock is motivational erosion, not in one game. Across a season. Across a career. The thankless accumulation of effort that never gets a highlight reel moment. The locks who go furthest are the ones who learn to find satisfaction in the invisible metric, not the try. The platform that made the try possible, not the break. The clean ball that gave someone else the chance to break. If a lock needs external recognition to stay motivated, they are in the wrong position. The job requires finding meaning in work that the scoreboard never records. Now the flankers. Numbers 6 and 7. The blind side and the open side are different animals, but they share a version of the same trap. The blind side is a defensive specialist. Their instinct is to read what is happening and respond. Find the ball carrier. Stop them. Repeat. And that reactive mindset is exactly what makes them excellent in defense, but it makes them dangerous to their own team in attack. A flanker conditioned to always react struggles to initiate. When the game requires them to make a decision before the play develops, they wait a fraction too long. They are reading when they should be committing. They respond beautifully to chaos. They hesitate in open space. The open side has the opposite problem. They are obsessed with the ball. Jackling, competing at the breakdown, turning possession over. That aggression is their superpower. But it becomes a gamble. An open side who cannot read when not to compete at the breakdown will give away penalties at critical moments. The obsession that makes them dangerous becomes the habit that costs the team. Both flanker positions share this. Their greatest strength, taken too far, becomes their most predictable weakness. Now the number 8. The 8. The number 8 is the bridge between the forwards and the backs. They must be physical enough to carry hard and tight spaces, and skilled enough to distribute and read attacking space. But here is what nobody tells the number 8. You are trying to satisfy two completely different teams simultaneously. The forwards want a carrier, a physical presence. Someone who goes hard and holds the ball up in contact. The backs want a decision maker. Someone who reads the line and puts the ball in the right hands. Under pressure, the number 8 often does neither fully. They try to be both. And trying to be both at once means committing to neither. The mental weakness of the 8 is identity confusion. In the moments that matter most, they are processing 2 different job descriptions at the same time. And that split second of uncertainty is all a good defense needs. The best number 8s choose their identity before the game, not during it. Now the backs, the scrum half. Number 9. The scrum half controls the tempo of everything. They decide when the game is fast and when it slows down. They are the first receiver on almost every play. They direct, distribute, instruct. And that control instinct, which is their greatest asset, becomes their trap. Under pressure, a scrum half who is conditioned to control everything begins to control too much. They slow the ball down when the game needs pace. They call changes when the play needs to happen. They micromanage what should be automatic. The mental weakness of the scrum half is the inability to trust the system when the game feels like it is slipping away. Their instinct to fix everything manually overrides the rhythm that was working. The best 9s learn one thing. Sometimes the best decision is to give the ball away quickly and trust someone else to make the next one, the fly half. Number 10. If the scrum half is the engine, the fly half is the steering wheel. Every attacking decision flows through them. Every kick is theirs. Every line break starts with their read. And that visibility creates the most well-documented mental weakness in rugby. Analysis paralysis. The fly half who sees too many options freezes. The wide ball is on, but the short ball is also on. But the kick is probably right. But if the kick goes wrong? And in that half second of evaluation, the window closes. The decision was made by not making one. Elite 10s do not have more options than average 10s. They have already decided which options they will take before the game starts. Specific triggers, specific calls. When they see this, they do this. No evaluation in the moment. The thinking happened in the week. The match is just execution. The centers. Numbers 12 and 13. The center is asked to be 2 things at once. Physical enough to hold the defensive line and stop ball carriers. Creative enough to create space and put people through gaps in attack. That dual identity works perfectly in most games. But in a bad game, a game where the centers are being targeted repeatedly in defense, something happens. They start to play small. The physicality of the defensive load begins to shut down the creative part of the brain. They carry less adventurously. They kick when they should run. They retreat to the safe option. The mental weakness of a center is that their defensive burden, when it gets heavy, quietly drains their attacking identity. And they often do not notice it happening until halftime. The wingers, 11 and 14. The wingers are the fastest players on the pitch. When the ball finds them in space, they are the most dangerous players in the game. But here's the problem. In an average rugby match, a winger touches the ball a fraction of the time their teammates do. There are long stretches, 10, 15, 20 minutes, where the game simply does not come to them. They are involved in defense. They chase kicks. They hold their position. And in those stretches, the mind starts to drift. Wingers do not freeze in big moments because they are not brave enough. They freeze because their brain has been in low engagement mode for 15 minutes and the ball suddenly arrives at full pace and full noise and the system is not switched on. The mental weakness of the winger is attention management across long periods of inactivity. The best wingers develop pre-contact routines. Small physical and mental triggers that keep the nervous system primed even when the game is happening on the other side of the pitch. The fullback. Number 15. Last player. Last line of defense. If the fullback makes a mistake, there is no one left. No second chance. No covering player. The ball goes over the line and points go on the board. That knowledge is with the fullback on every single play. And it creates the most isolating mental burden in rugby. Anxiety. Specific, structural anxiety built into the position. The fullback spends the entire match alone at the back of the defensive line, watching the game unfold in front of them, waiting for the moment they are needed, knowing that when that moment comes, failure is visible to everyone and covered by no one. The best fullbacks reframe the isolation. They do not see the position as carrying the final burden. They see it as having the final view. The best seat in the stadium. The player who sees everything. That reframe does not remove the pressure, but it changes what the pressure means, and meaning changes performance. Every position on this pitch carries a mental weight that the training manual never covers. Props carry invisibility. Hookers carry anticipatory dread. Locks carry the burden of thankless work. Flankers carry their own strength taken too far. The 8 carries identity confusion. The 9 carries the need to control. The 10 carries too many options. The centers carry a defensive load that drains their attacking mind. The wingers carry the danger of inactivity. And the fullback carries the weight of finality. None of these are weaknesses that should make you doubt your position. They are the weaknesses that come with the territory. And the players who reach the top are not the ones who never felt them. They are the ones who looked at their specific burden, named it clearly, and trained their mind the same way they trained their body, deliberately, specifically, over time. The question is never whether your position has a mental weakness. Every position does. The question is whether you face yours before it decides the game for you.